All right, this is Lunenburg Water District Commissioners Meeting, August 9th, 2023. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All righty. Why don't I start to go through the warrants, and if you wanted to, or do we have to look at, this is the SRF funding?
Correct.
Okay. Well, why don't we just,
You can do the warrants and all that stuff first.
yeah, we can do the warrants, I'll pass the minutes around and we'll come back to it if we wanted to start discussing the, we'll jump to number 3, review and discuss the SRF funding proposal for Hickory Hills Treatment Plant.
Okay, so what you have in front of you is the application that Time Bond is submitting. It's got all the basic information broken down into different sections, you know, for budget. The whole, when you submit budgets and stuff through the SRF, you don't want to be on the budget. So everything's inflated to make sure it covers all the costs associated with it. So this is all just preliminary numbers, nothing that's gonna hold you anything in the future. It's just to get the application submitted with, adequate funding available. And then they just list through the project, project description. Same capacity as it is, and then they have maybe the most important one is the project schedule, which is probably 5 or 6 pages in.
Yeah. So is this their estimated total to build the treatment plant?
Elevated.
Elevated.
Overinflated, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll
So-
know better as we get all of the testing done and we actually design.
Correct. So the pilot study is gonna tell you the size of the building, you know, the size of the vessels and tell you everything. So right now, they don't know any of that, so this is just wild guesses. Worst case scenario, this will cover the funding.
So it shouldn't cost any more than this.
No.
I sure hope not.
Yeah, that's a pretty big number.
Yep.
Application for the project. So this is basically the application for the SRF funding.
That is correct, yes. So if we go look at the project schedule, 2.1, it says page 2, but it's probably page 5.
It says page 2, but it's like, yeah, a few pages in.
So they're gonna submit it, you have to submit it, the application in August for funding.
Yep.
And then they list out the pilot study, when they anticipate the pilot study taking place, and then it's all
Then you get into preliminary design.
correct. Yep. And then permitting, and then, you know, so it's got multiple phases of design. So this thing isn't looking like anything's gonna happen there in a few years by the time you see stuff. Hi,
Yeah.
Dave.
Hey, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, this is, if
So,
you
yeah,
go,
construction
you go
July
from now
25
to the end goal is the end of the year, 2028. Post-construction phase, warranty period, okay. So construction, so, yeah, so it looks like between next year and, so it's a 2-year,
The construction between July 2025 and December 2027, it's 2-year
2 years.
construction. You know?
Yeah,
So yeah, this is obviously forecasted out quite a bit. I mean, boy, those are some, I'm hoping, very inflated numbers, but, you know.
On a one side inflated, I even think the construction's, I see this thing being built quicker than this.
Is this a start date or a time
This
it's
is-
gonna
this is
take them
a-
to build it?
They had them 2 years to build the thing.
yeah.
I can't see that.
No, they built this building, and of course, I mean, all the baloney we went through, but when they actually started was one
pretty
season.
quick, yeah.
Yeah,
But if you take the time, I mean, I understand the inflated numbers, because by the time we go to do this thing, the way everything keeps going up, how inflated do you think this is? Like, do you have a rough guess? I mean, we're talking almost $15 million.
I think it's inflated double.
I'm gonna guess 40% over.
Yeah, and so the goal is, I mean, I had in my mind that we were gonna spend $8 million on this plant, roughly,
Now,
so.
I'm looking through this here. What is never mind, it's just, I can't see the time frame. That's crazy. How much more is this thing gonna go up in the next 3 or 4 years? If we,
Well, I think that's possibly why the funding's so elevated, just because you don't know the cost, you know, how the costs are gonna increase over the next several years, like they did last year, or the last 2 years. So they don't really know that, so they're overinflating everything. And you're not obligated to pay any of this, you know, it's gonna be, you're going for the SRF funding, that's it. I mean, our goal is just get our name on the list. Because once those new regulations come out with that 4 parts per trillion is the maximum, then everybody's on the list. So the whole thing's getting us in there now, that's all.
I mean, we could sit here and talk about these numbers,
Yeah.
but the reality, I can't say it doesn't matter, but it doesn't.
we gotta have
what we're
more
trying to
rea-
do, we're not making any financial decisions right now. This is just the
Exactly.
proposal. We're gonna put our push this forward, and then as this pilot study comes closer and closer to wrapping up, we'll have a much better idea of
Then-
size,
Right.
scope.
Then you'll be
and
fine tuning.
Then we can fine tune
Yeah.
it, but
Right.
right now, I mean,
Yeah, this is just just the middle, that's all.
Yeah, well, you definitely don't wanna be under. So
Yes,
it's
that'd be
definitely
all.
better to be over.
so when is this pilot study gonna start?
Well, he's got it projected as in November,
November of '23 to April of '24.
Okay,
but we don't really know. But we can get into the appeal stuff, if you guys wanna get into that.
No, let's wait
Do we
and see
really
how
have
it
to?
pans out.
I mean,
Well, we have an appeal tomorrow, the walk site visit tomorrow is DEP.
yeah,
I spoke to the head of DEP. She's fully supporting us on a redundant water supply, so we have DEP on our side on this thing, so. So we're gonna meet down there, we're gonna go over whatever their issues are with the Wetlands Act only. Nothing else, it's gonna apply to what they're gonna oversee. And we'll see what DEP says.
so they're not gonna talk about the appeal tomorrow? They're just gonna?
That's a sidewalk based on the appeal.
Oh,
You know?
okay.
There was all kinds of things that people submitted for concerns. And DEP made comment to me about quite a few. I'm like, well, what about this? I'm like, I'm not worried about this. It's not part of this. And she
Yeah.
kind of laughed. Yes, I agree. So that's why the focus isn't gonna be on the little things. Like if, you have to move a kayak out of the way. That's what some of the complaints were. But that's not part of this thing. The
Take
wetlands thing is what
It's all,
impacts onto the wetlands.
well, I believe this is all in reference to conservation, and the appeal is to conservation, not really to us.
Right, right.
So,
They're complaining-
I'm not gonna make it tomorrow, I don't know if anybody else.
Well, I want to, but I'm gonna be in Ashburnham, so if I can get out of there, I definitely wanna make it tomorrow.
So we have, I'm going, I think Christie wants to go, Tom Mahana from Time Bond and Randy, is it Randy?
I forget, he's the
there.
wetland.
He's their wetlands guy.
Rep,
So-
yeah.
Okay,
So
So
two
he'll
from
be able
Time
to-
Bond and us, and they wanted to keep it small, so.
Yeah.
yep,
Now, they're worried about moving their kayak?
No, I was just making an example. There
Oh.
there was all kinds of things that came
Yeah.
up, and DEP's, that's not the focus of what this
Yeah,
concern is.
okay.
okay.
So, yeah, I just made up
11
kayak, 'cause
o'clock.
that was the only thing.
11 o'clock.
I'm not, yeah.
Yeah, we'll check, I'll figure it out.
Call me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
you wanna pass those minutes around?
Yeah, I could do that too, yeah. We were kinda going over. Is there anything else as far as the SRF that we should be focusing on? I mean, it's a lot of,
Not really, it's just a submittal, they probably do the same exact similar one, they probably switch to a different town from Lunenburg and submit it.
and then what was the map? That just kinda goes along with the SRF funding?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just a
just-
map
just
showing the
the thing.
400-foot radius around the well.
All right. Give me a minute, I can't read that fast.
Take your time.
Did
Don't
Matt,
get dark
did
in
Matt get
a
his
couple
D2
hours.
license?
No.
Failed again.
Saw that on there.
What happened?
Review and
Matt's D2 license, he did not get it.
Failed this test.
Matt.
he's gonna have to
Oh.
study.
I thought you
Review
said
and approve
Mac.
audit engagement letter for 22-23.
Just the typical thing we do, our annual audit with Mark Mueller.
Oh.
It's just something that you guys have to review it and sign off on. Same as every other year, except he did go up $1,000 again.
So what's the total price now?
15,
15,000.
yeah.
So. He went up before, or?
Last year was 14, the year before was 14, the year before that was 13, 12.
Now it's
so-
15.
Now it's at 15. So if it's okay with you, I had asked Lisa to kind of make a few phone calls and just inquire in some local municipalities, water districts, to see who other people are using, what they're happy with, and maybe, I think for this year, if you guys, obviously I can wait, but, you know, I've got everything together. He's good to start in a couple weeks, if you guys want to just go ahead and get this done for this year. And in the meantime, I could line up prices, have people come in if you guys want to talk to different auditors for next year. It's something we try to typically get started and done right around this time every year.
How, because I don't know what this guy does, but how big a job is this? I mean, is this a week's work for this guy?
No,
A couple
it's,
days?
obviously I don't know exactly what the auditor does, but I know typically it takes him a couple months. I know I have to supply.
You supply him with all the information though, and he
Well,
just,
yeah, because he goes in. I just have to put things on files. You know, I grab a USB, I give him the QuickBooks end of year.
Yeah, but I mean, he gets all his information for the audit from what you do.
Yes, she puts
Yes.
everything together.
So you do most of the work and he just kind of,
He's gotta go through.
I
it.
supply it.
Okay.
He does the actual
He does the
audit
check
stuff.
and balance.
Yes.
I would be kind of curious what other people charge, but I would say this might be a tough one to be an apples to apples comparison. You know,
Yeah.
between, to find another water district that's similar to our employees' numbers,
I mean, I could try to, some of the other towns and areas, maybe we could pick and choose some that are kind of comparable to us.
I'd be curious,
You know?
and if the price range is like half, like,
Yeah.
whoa, but like, I would
I
tend
don't
to.
think it's gonna be a huge difference.
Yeah.
I tend to don't think I think it's expensive, but
Yeah.
I do think he does a good job, but.
And this is a professional service,
Yeah.
in my opinion, so you don't need to go out for proposals or bids.
yeah, it's,
So
like
I
hunting
don't know if
around.
you guys are okay with moving forward for this year. I have everything ready to go. And I think it's for, I don't know if you've signed it or the commissioner signed it in the
I
past.
think sometimes it's both.
It says the letter correctly sets forth the understanding, management signature and governance signature.
So it would be both of us.
I'd be okay with it, but I would be curious, just,
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I don't
I'll see if I can get Lisa kind of,
yeah, I don't think right now is the time to be searching for somebody else. It's kind of late.
but if we do something, this fall, once this is done.
Right, once this is done, if we just,
This fall, just start
just
questioning.
just kind of curious, because
Okay.
So,
I would guess management would be Fran.
signs?
I would guess that would be,
so I guess, do we need a motion to enter into the agreement or authorize the chair to sign the agreement for $15,000?
I'll make a motion
Okay.
to authorize the chair to enter the agreement. Is it $15,000
I can double check the
Yeah.
exact number, but I wrote it down, yeah.
for the audit?
What's the date today?
Yeah, second that,
9.
or not?
Thinking.
No. Okay.
And authorize
second
Fran
that.
to sign the agreement too, I guess.
All
You
those
guys
in
wanna look
favor?
at it? Aye.
Aye.
Good, thanks for helping out.
I didn't see the steam come out, John, so I didn't know.
Hey, you know how cheap I am.
I'm with you.
So I'm sorry about all the extra work, but did we get anything good out of Rollstone or any other banks?
It worked.
Really?
Yeah, Enterprise went higher.
Nice.
So, yes.
But there's more to the story than she's telling you, so.
There is.
Isn't there?
Well,
Oh, no, well, Rollstone, yeah, go ahead.
so, yeah, so I did call Rollstone, went in and talked to them. She had said to me, good timing, tomorrow, it hasn't officially come out, but as of tomorrow, we have a new 11-month CD at 5.25. So I said, okay, well, this is what I'm looking for. She took all the information, she passed it to the higher up, the relations manager. So him and I emailed back and forth, and I did a courtesy email back to Enterprise, and I said, I got a quote that they can do an 11-month CD at this rate. And he said, let me see what I can do. So I think you guys had everything that I showed you last time.
Yeah, that was at 4.
Enterprise was great. They were-
4.75.
That was,
they were-
yeah, that was,
But everything else was 3.75.
Correct.
So Rollstone, so Enterprise said they would match the CD at the 5.25, plus maintain all the 3.75, all the other stuff. Rollstone came in at 3%. 3%, so they were lower on all of the other things. And they also included some of the fees. It was gonna be a $12.50 wire fee. They weren't gonna waive all of their fees. They were gonna waive some of them, but there were still some fees that they were gonna have. But it also said something about the checking accounts that we had to maintain a balance over 300,000 to get the 3% rate. Whereas that was not, because I know sometimes we go under our checking account depending on
Sure.
month to month, and it goes under. Whereas, so my overall opinion is I think we should keep everything in Enterprise. And I think where Enterprise is willing to hold that same rate, that's your call. I mean, and Rollstone will offer the 5.25, as will Enterprise.
So basically,
But-
Enterprise is offering the same thing that you showed us last time, with the exception of
With the exception-
they went up from the 4.75 to the 5.25.
Yes.
so Rollstone's not offering anything on our fees, but
No. And lower-
Enterprise is gonna waive all of our fees.
Yes. And they had lower percentages.
Yes. Great job.
So by going to Rollstone,
It kind of
kicked
pushed,
them in-
yes,
That's
is what I
another
meant.
0.5%
It's
on
big.
Yeah.
It's
That's
big.
huge.
So that's why I emailed him, because when I had said, my commissioners requested that I look at other banks, and he said, I would appreciate if there's anything you could let me know, if I could have a chance, if there was other things. So I did. I sent him the email and I said, I did go to another bank and they're telling me that they have a CD rate available right now of 5.25. And he said, all right, let me see what I can do. And emailed me back later that day and said, we'll match. So.
Good.
Go find
Great
one
job.
at 5.75.
Yeah, come back in
good
2
job.
weeks and see what else you can get. But, and I think it would be nice, or I'm thinking it might be easier if everything was in Enterprise, because again, if we have this 11-month and we put $1.5 million in there, say the 11 months comes up, we can look at our finances again at that point and say, okay, well now let's take out 500, we need that for this project. We're all in one bank, it's not wire transfers from here to here. Or we say, okay, let's roll it in, or hey, we don't have anything, let's add more to it. But again, that's your decision. I think it would be nice to have everything in the one, but you guys tell me what to do.
No, I think you did a great job. I think it was, good work to go back and forth a little bit, but I'm in agreement with you for staying at Enterprise. Has been.
I am too, especially if we can.
How about you, John? You wanna go to
Yep.
Workers?
I see. They got any tellers there?
Somebody came in and said
I
they
see.
are adding some now
Yeah.
because they've had so many people,
Yeah, complain,
Yeah.
yeah.
Good. All right.
No,
So
I
we
agree.
don't need a vote or anything on that, do we? Or do we?
well, most of them are, the only thing that's really changing is closing the Rollstone and opening the new CE at enterprise. Everything else is staying the same, they're just
Right.
upping our percentages, so, I
Yep.
think, so.
I don't think you need a vote.
Nope.
It's a treasure thing, just you mention it, they'll support it.
So I guess the big thing, when I call them tomorrow, is do we have a number? I know we talked about it last
Yeah.
time. We knew we had at least $1 million to
Yeah.
put into the CD, but we felt that we didn't have any projects coming up in the 11 months. So we talked about maybe doing $1.5 million in the CD to get the higher return. So that would be the only other number that we'd need to figure out.
Yeah, we should put as much in there as we can.
Yeah, wait, do you still have that paper from last time, Chrissy, that showed our current,
This one?
yeah, that's the one. Yeah,
We did get, right now, we did get the funding in for the Mass Ave project. So that's sitting in there too, but that obviously we can't touch because we'll hopefully use
That'll go
in
towards
the
the
next,
project.
yeah.
Is that on the agenda?
No, but we can,
Well, it's on
full business?
old business.
I do have it right here on that page. Yeah, I would favor putting more into that since we don't foresee any need to pull out the largest sum of money in the next.
Yeah, because it had,
And that,
because the money market account that we had has the one that I was telling you I haven't touched.
Right, that's the 923.
That's the 923 that we talked about,
Correct.
taking that million and turning that into the CD.
Yep.
And then Rollstone has, I think it was just about 500. in it.
Correct.
So we talked about combining the two of those.
Yep, I agree.
Because those were two accounts that, since I've been here in 5 years, I've never touched.
Yep,
The only thing we would probably have to do is just contact Verizon, because they put their
Oh,
direct
okay, yep.
payments, yeah, which we can just throw that into our operating account.
yes, I think that's what we should do.
Okay?
yep,
I agree.
Excellent job, Betsy, that is
Yeah.
huge, huge.
All right, so CD, we're gonna do the 1.5, and we'll call Verizon. All right, deposits. Okay, all right, I'll
Okay.
call them tomorrow.
perfect. Why don't we go to old business, because some of the stuff that I would bring up in the additions would probably be part of old business, so. Discuss the proposed Zone 2 bylaw.
Okay.
Did you have any, did Adam go back and look at it to make sure that we're not affecting,
I never brought it back to Adam. I mean, I didn't see anything here that would affect.
would affect any other,
No, and this is the DEP bylaw. I mean, it's the DEP, when I sent it to them, they said that's our bylaw. That's exactly what we want you to use, so.
Now, are they gonna give us some kind of a decision tomorrow? Or are they gonna email us in another?
no, this is the
This is-
the
Oh,
Zone 2.
okay, all right, I
This
got
is the change in the Zone 2.
Yeah,
The major reason, I guess, was for development purpose down in the Keating
Keating's
area.
yeah. Okay,
And I just wanted to make sure that the Zone 2, the changes wouldn't affect Zone 2's Lancaster Ave but if this is what DEP is looking for,
Yeah, so like the
And
one we
we don't-
have, DEP made a lot of the comments in the past one.
yeah,
This one, the comment was one, add, what, 2 words to the thing, you know?
yep. Yeah, if he wants to bring it to town meeting, and I would support the change.
Okay. I'll make note that, you know, as long as we reference the new Zone 2 map, put that little thing that went down Kilburn Street.
Yeah, we want, if we're voting on it at town meeting, we should get the Zone 2 area added that we've been looking to get added in that area. And just this, and if we just keep it to the Zone 2, then I think that would be best. Not to try to do anything else along
Yeah,
with
because
it.
we fully control the Zone 1 anyway,
Right.
so.
Yep. You guys are all in favor of
I am,
supporting
yeah.
that?
There's nothing,
Yeah.
there's no major changes to this,
Yeah.
it's
No.
some very minor wording that I'm okay with it.
Okay. The Hickory Hills pilot study, we talked about it a little bit.
Yeah,
We had
that's,
a meeting.
yeah, no changes on scheduling, or then wait until the appeals finalized, and then we'll schedule.
Did they give you an idea after the site walk, how long after the site walk they're gonna make any kind of a ruling?
He mentioned in his email that, he doesn't give a deadline date. Purpose of tomorrow's will be information gathering purpose on my part only. I'll be there to hear from each of the parties and the representatives to why they feel the project does or does not comply with the WPA, and to view project in context at the site.
No,
And render a decision based on that information. He doesn't give a time on when he's gonna make
Okay.
a decision.
so we have representation. I know there's people probably from the lake that are gonna be at that
They only
meeting.
allowed 3.
And is there gonna be conservation, representation, considering we don't have an agent right now?
DEP believes there's gonna be 2 representatives from conservation.
Okay. Because I would think they would want to be there, because it's more, the appeal is in regards to the application, and the appeal is, I guess, in reference to the decision made by the Conservation Board. So I would think they'd want to be there.
Yeah, he doesn't, he says Conservation Commission will be sending along a few members.
Okay.
And he says no deliberation on their part shall occur on the sidewalk, so they don't need to call up.
Right.
Oh, I got you.
Okay.
Yeah, so that, I mean, I've talked to DEP all about it, you know, they support this well site, so, we'll see how it
Yeah,
goes.
then
Okay.
we'll walk through and see what they say.
Mass Ave water main replacement.
Okay, so that one's actually moving ahead.
Cool.
It went out to bid, said Project Dog, effective today. So it's all out there. I spoke to Mass Highway DOT, and I talked to the guy, no more computer stuff, I talked to him. And I said, you know, we're trying to get this thing done. I said, we just had another broken main there, I wanna get this done before this winter. And I said, we just got a few little things. So he's like, yeah, well, what's the problem? I said, the traffic study. I said, that's gonna delay us and cost us a lot of money. He says, I don't need a traffic study. I want you to take a map and put little dots on how you're gonna have the traffic flow through cones. The dots are the cones. He said, take it 10 minutes. I'm like, okay, piece of cake.
Yeah.
I said, flow will fill. I said, can we just use it on the road surfaces? Because the intent of this project is mostly off the roads. Yep, not a problem.
Oh, sweet.
So, what else was there? The site engineer, we don't need an engineer. The engineer was only as if we did flowable fill in the road, we went in the roadway. Then we needed the engineered site inspector, so.
Well,
so
those are
things
3
moved ahead.
huge things.
Then he says, when you submit the information, Gary had to make a few changes on the plans. And he says, when you submit it, in the comment, notes, discussion thing, make a note that plans have been updated. He says, I get an email saying that, so I know to go look at it. If you don't respond on that, I don't see a thing.
Okay.
So, he's like, here's my number, you got any problems, I'll help you do whatever.
That's awesome.
whatever it
That's
is.
awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's it's easy when you can actually talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it's like texting, you know, you interpret their response
Right.
as something different,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Well, that's gonna save
Good.
a lot of
So-
time and money.
It's out to bid. When is the bid due?
31st
Of August.
of August.
So when's our meeting after the 31st? Or is it the 31st?
Well, I would
No,
say,
it's-
we'd
that's a
probably call it a
Thursday.
special one.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, I mean, it's if
So
they're,
it wouldn't be until the 13th. We'd actually have 3
No,
weeks
I
in
would-
between because of the way the months fall, so.
is
I
there
wanna
a
go-
day, a time that they're doing?
2 o'clock on the 31st. I'm pretty sure I'd have to look there.
What day is that?
But,
That's a Thursday.
Thursday.
So typically what happens is they do all the bids, so we're gonna know the lowest bidder. And then typically the engineers take it back and they review everything. And then they give us a recommendation. And they say, so-and-so is the best bid. We went through every line item, everything's legit, they calculated everything correctly. We recommend that you award the bid to them. Then we call a special meeting, depending on how the timing goes.
And award it.
And award it.
So the bids go to the engineers and they open them?
They're coming in at 2 o'clock, bid opening is here Thursday.
Okay, so you,
So we'll know.
We'll
You'll
know,
open the
we'll know on
bids?
Thursday.
so why don't we have, if you guys want,
Yeah, do you want to move when's the prior?
23rd is our next meeting.
Yeah, it's a week before.
Yeah.
Can we just move that meeting to the 31st?
I don't know, with warrants and
Oh,
and
yeah.
such, and is
I
it
mean, you
still
guys can
other-
come in and just sign a couple of payroll warrants, that's all I would need is just an extra payroll warrant, but,
I mean, we really don't have to call a meeting if you're opening the bids,
yeah,
do you?
but didn't you just say, I mean, if we open the bids on the 31st, you're gonna get the number, but Stantec's
Stantec
gonna
still has
need,
to
Still
still
needs
gonna
to
need a
review
couple
it.
days to
But we
review.
could fast track it though. If the board's here, they get the bids and they said.
Let's award it.
Yeah.
Upon, validation, you might say,
Yes.
from
Yeah.
Stantec. Yeah. I'm all about fast tracking this, I know you
We
are.
got it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta get moving on this stuff.
So you're saying we could pick like a 1, 2, 3 and send it to Stantec?
Well, Stantec's gonna be here doing it, so
Yeah,
they're gonna
they'll be
know
opening
everything.
They're gonna know
Yeah,
everything,
so
but they
they're-
still gotta
they're-
review it.
Yes, some bid openings, they actually review it on here. They'll go through line item, do the math, they'll do only the top couple of them.
Yep.
So they'll have a base, pretty good idea of, it's a
Yeah.
legit good bid, so.
Do you wanna just not do the meeting on the 23rd and do a meeting the following Thursday, the 31st at, I mean, even if we did 4 o'clock, at 2 o'clock they're opening the bids, when you guys get here at 4 o'clock, unless you guys wanna do 2 o'clock.
That's what I was thinking,
I know
let's-
2 o'clock's tough, cause everybody, you guys all work, but if
Right.
you wanna wait until 4.
That's what I'm saying, if we do the meeting
We'll
at
have everything
4,
ready
then
for you.
the bids will already be in, they can maybe even kind of going through them a little bit, or.
No, they'll go through them a little bit.
But-
I think that's I mean, I kinda think we should push it maybe to the next week.
I think we have a bid that,
No, it falls weird, this month we'll have 3 weeks in between. Our
Well,
next
we won't
meeting's
have a
the
meeting on the
23rd.
6th? Oh, 13th?
No, it's the 2nd and the 4th Monday of every month, so, because we,
2nd to 4th Thursday.
2nd and 4th Wednesday of every
Wednesday,
month.
yeah.
Yep. So it would be the
it'd be
13th and the 27th, so we could move it up to the 6th and do the 6th and the 27th in September.
I'm pretty flexible. I mean, I
Alright, let's
guess,
leave it open for now.
Yeah.
Let's
Okay.
leave the meetings as.
Because we have another meeting on,
I'll talk to Gary.
I
The
think,
23rd.
I think
We
we
have a
should
meeting on
still
the
get together on the
23rd, so
23rd. We have a lot of stuff moving with the pilot study and whatnot.
true,
So-
true.
I'd like to still, if we can.
You guys are always welcome to come to the bid opening, we don't have to put it as a posted
Right,
meeting.
it doesn't
You guys
have to-
aren't voting.
right.
But if we want to vote on it, we
Then-
need to.
Yeah.
then we
Then we
do.
need to
And then
post it.
if we can always post a special meeting for the next Wednesday,
True,
if we want to do that.
true.
Concrete.
While we have a break, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of
Oh, perfect.
July
July 26th.
26.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Did you second the motion? Yes. Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Aye, aye,
Aye, aye, aye.
aye. Okay.
Now,
that's
that
a
meeting tomorrow is down to the lake.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
Health insurance buyback program.
Did I tell you guys last time I had spoken with Heather? I had asked her what I can't remember where we left it last time. I did email her.
Yeah.
And just asked her, since they implemented it, what, she said they only had 2 people join since they implemented it. She said, but they figure it's a cost of, I think she said just under $50,000 that the town's saving by implementing this health insurance prep. I know that was the one question
Right,
you
when did
asked.
they
How was the
start
time?
it? Did they
The
start it?
fiscal year, July.
Okay, so we
And I
got-
guess theirs was, I was reading through her stuff that she sent. Theirs is you get paid at the end of the fiscal year, one payment. And if you change it, then it's prorated. So it was 2,000 for individuals, 4,000 for family. There is a mid-year opt-out, which will just be prorated.
So we
and if
could-
something happened.
we could conceivably are we too late to try to start this program if we wanted to?
No, I don't
This
think
year.
so. I think no, because I believe I can double check with Maya. But I don't think, I think anybody can cancel. At any time, or if there's changes in their insurance can be added. So I don't think if we were to offer this to any other ones, just say Terry, if his wife had insurance or something like that and wanted to change, I think he can drop it at any point, and then we could say, okay, for fiscal year 23, 24, in June of 24, at the end of that fiscal year is when you'll be,
When he can get. when
get
he
your,
gets his
whatever you
stipend
decide.
for it.
Yeah, the stipend for it, so.
Okay.
I mean, I'm all for trying it. I mean,
Do you, those were just numbers that the town had used. I know we had talked about it before, we kind of came up, everybody, what I found, I shouldn't bring my whole thing, from when we first started this,
Yeah.
I don't know, a year ago,
Yeah.
it was, some were different, I know Shirley gave them like 100%, because
Yeah.
they're very small. But then I found, this seems to be kind of a close number, if I remember correctly, around the 2,000 to 4,000, whether it's individual or family, seemed kind of close. I think there was one other town that was.
And, that was
I want to
annually?
say, yep, annually. I want to say Air was pretty close to that. I think Templeton was
So-
like 5,000, so I think they're in that range.
Just so I'm clear, Fran opts out of insurance. At the end of our fiscal year next year, we give him $4,000.
Yes,
Fran stays in insurance, and it probably costs us a lot more than $425.
yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm all for, I think if it's something that we wanted to do, if timing works and
Yeah.
somebody's interested in it this year, then,
And I liked, they had a form, which I'll go back and actually, we created a form.
Correct.
When we first started
Yes.
talking about this, so I agree that it should be done correctly, that if you are gonna opt out, you have to fill this form out that says, this is my proof that I have insurance elsewhere, because you can't just say, I don't want it, and don't
Right.
have health insurance, with details on it.
yeah, so people would have to provide proof that they have health insurance somewhere
Yep.
else. They'd have to notify us if something happened to their coverage somewhere else.
Yep,
And the payout only happens at the end of the year.
the fiscal year.
fiscal year.
Yep, and if you leave before, it's prorated,
Yep.
so we'll
yes,
make sure,
we
yes.
need to put that in.
Yes.
Yes,
For
so we'll make
sure.
sure that I'll make sure that that's all dictated and,
If all that's in, conceptually, I'm on board with that.
okay.
So.
Yeah, we will need to draft up some sort of.
So if, if somebody is
We did
interested,
that before.
Yeah, I know I had one,
Yeah.
Right.
I could probably easily pull it up. This was what we'd drawn up. Yeah, actually, here are some of my old notes. Air was 2,400 and 5,000 for family. And this has probably changed, but some of my old notes, we were looking at,
yeah. The only thing is, there's nothing about the prorate, you'd have to.
okay, so I'll make sure to
You have to
add
write
that.
up a little bit more on
Yep.
that the payment would be prorated if the employee left. That the payment's actually probably gonna be prorated is if they had to get back on the plan.
Yep, okay,
So any change in coverage or change of employment,
off,
the
Or on, yep.
payment, the payout will be prorated to the
For the date,
to
yep.
the date of whatever the action is.
okay.
So,
And I did find my other one, Air was 5,000, Templeton was 6,000,
and
Sudbury was 10,000, so
so Lunenburg's
We're
2.4?
we're, sorry, Lunenburg,
town-
yes,
the
is,
town of
yeah.
Lunenburg- I would
Lunenburg was,
try it out to start.
that's what I'm
back there.
thinking, let's carry, what Lunenburg has is.
We have to have some clause in there though, that like upon spot inspection, you need to prove that you have insurance.
We can
Yes.
say that every,
Just no, upon our request.
okay.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
Something that,
On request, insurance must be
Must be insurance.
proof of insurance must
proof
be,
of,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
On request, proof. Okay.
Something in there, I mean, and maybe every 6 months or something, just,
Or I would say that.
Upon
be-
request, if I
before-
cut
right,
it,
if
yeah.
upon request is like upon request, and then I think at the end of the year, before you get your check, you need to like.
and it's
show.
Proof it.
and basically put it on the person that is taking advantage of the buyback, that they have to notify us any change in their insurance status.
Okay.
And
If
if
you
they
don't,
don't?
you don't get your check, you know, like I'd put it out to
And-
really,
and-
you know.
My big thing is
Okay.
I just hate to see somebody have a lapse in coverage and have something happen to them.
Yes.
So I really want to
So,
make sure that
okay.
they have coverage.
All right. Let me, I know I got the thing from the town, but let me see if they have something
Right.
to make sure they're covered. But yeah, I'll draft up another one then.
But conceptually, I'm on board with that.
Okay.
If it's something you wanted to start to talk to the guys about, and then
Sure.
our next meeting, we could finalize any
Yeah.
of the little
Sure.
detail. That I would be fine with that. Everybody else okay with that?
No,
Yeah, I'm
All right, I'll
good.
draft up a new one of these
Right.
and then,
Cool. Check, 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 check. Cool. Then we just had commissioners, superintendent, clerk, treasurer additions. So any additions that we have that, or anything that anybody needs to bring out at this point?
I'm good.
Vogel Phil, I was just looking
I
to
just wanna
make
mention,
sure.
BJ did his, set his CDL exam up for, 2 weeks.
Cool.
So, we'll see how he does. He's driving pretty good, so,
go.
as long as he gets his pre-trip inspection down, he'll be good. So.
Who showed him how to drive?
Jeff.
Well, I'll take care.
Well, yeah, he's
I-
been driving with you, he's
I've
been
driven
driving
him.
with
He does
Matt.
good. Downshifting, he was a little weak, but he says he picked it up. I said, he was trying to downshift before he slowed down, and before he even started trying to rev it, he was trying to put it in gear. And I'm like, yeah, don't even bother trying until you rev it up, you know?
No, it ain't gonna
So
work.
he got way better at it, and I did tell him about you. I said, if John was here and he saw a clutch,
No. That clutch is for starting and
Yeah.
that's it.
But you
That's
have to
it.
use it to take your test, don't you?
I
hear
would assume
different.
so.
Oh,
I've
really?
been hearing that you don't have to use the clutch.
Oh.
I don't know if I could do it.
I thought you had to double clutch. I thought you had to prove that you could double clutch when you took the
Just
test.
slide that thing right over when you just get a feel. Do even one of those trucks have a Jake brake in them?
The auto cut does.
Yeah.
I don't like the Jake brake flip.
Oh my goodness.
Going down the hill, yes.
I get my car like trying to flip it on. Where is it?
Did the selectmen have their meeting last night?
Not in regards to the ARPA funding. That's next week. So I don't know if
I
you guys
remember
are
them
available for
commenting
that
there
one.
were only like a 3-person board last night, so that's why they were pushing it for.
Right.
Yeah, so I think next week is when it's all gonna happen.
Are they actually gonna?
It seems they want to allocate some money to help us.
Well, I guess one of the questions, I mean, I should just watch the meeting. Like, they were trying to get a set of guidelines or like how were they going to spend this money? Like, what are their rules, you might say? Like, in other words, how many people in town are affected by this? Like, what is the criteria for handing this out? And I think
They-
that's one thing that they were going back and forth on, like,
They had the last meeting that I watched, is they basically personally looked at the list
Mm-hmm.
and had different criteria. And it ranged to,
Oh, right.
you know, but I think every member that was present at that meeting was in agreement to fund something for the water district. So,
right. But I was just saying in general, I felt like they needed to have they should have had a criteria of like, all right, we're going to give money because it's going to affect a lot of people, or this is like some
Well, they
sort.
kind of talked about it the
They
last
did,
meeting,
yeah.
saying that it's, even if you weren't a water in the district, you could have kids in the school, you could be using the restaurants,
Yeah.
all of the town
I'm not talking about
buildings.
just the water. I'm just talking about the ARPA
Yeah.
funding in general.
And it
Yeah.
seemed like they kind of changed it a little bit too, because they're talking about taking some of the funding back
Yes.
from, because I'm wondering if they
'Cause it's not
maybe
really.
didn't have the guidance that, or looked into it as
Right.
much as they are now, because
Yeah.
they had talked
I think
about
they're really-
some of the projects should have been capital
Correct. Yeah.
improvement
That
funds,
ARPA
so-
funding is pretty specific on what it's supposed to be used for. But
Yeah.
That's not my decision to make.
yep. No, but it does seem like there's some positive
Yeah.
movement towards,
Yep.
giving us some money to help with the PFAS situation.
Yeah.
And, looking at the SRF application, which kind of blows my mind, it's a lot of money.
A lot of money.
Well, we did submit a lot of more information to the class action PFAS people.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
They said, they mentioned that if any of the sources are at the 4 parts per trillion, the new regulation, or higher, you're gonna get a significant increase in money. So we had several of the wells, like the Keating well was over, a lot of the samples were over. The initial samples in Lancaster Ave individually, well number 5 was over, so it was, 2 of highest producing wells were over the 4. Then DEP's sampling didn't go to sampling the raw water, they went to the finished water. So the finished water in Lancaster Ave was the blend, it was, so
Right.
all 4 wells were running, so depending on which wells ran, depending on what your
Depends on the
result
level
was.
of PFAS.
So they didn't want finished, they wanted raw. So they actually sent us a cooler with 6 samples, so we, with the exception of Hickory Hills, because that's way over the 4. We even put a pump in, ran well number 3, did a PFAS on that, and PFAS on all the other wells. So he said, you're so close to that 4, we need to know. So he wants us, first time ever, we want higher PFAS.
The other thing he said is the next step after this, we'll be able to submit any funds that we've already used towards PFAS. So we're hoping maybe some of this funds that we're using for the pilot study,
Oh, I got you, yeah.
maybe
Yeah, so,
be able
yeah.
to get
I
would be-
reimbursed.
I think-
Maybe some of this, but I don't know.
Great.
That would be the next step.
So I think it's all heading down a good road.
Good.
Hopefully it's as good as it was with the MTBE stuff that we did.
Yeah.
We had a quick talk last meeting about equipment.
Yeah,
Just small
I just
stuff?
been looking at stuff. I mean, there's a lot of wheel machines out there. So I think it's gonna be a case of, I'll bring some to you guys to check it out and say, hey, this looks like a good size, and then
Yeah,
we'll-
but even the small equipment, I thought we have money allocated for small equipment.
Pumps and-
Jumping jack.
Oh, yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah, actually I got, one of the jumping jacks on the last main break was driving us nuts.
Yeah,
But this was our new one, so I just gotta figure it out. Yeah.
I don't know how you can decide what machine you're gonna buy, but what I found out is if you could find out somehow what the price of parts are for these machines, because some of these, the price of the machine is a little lower than somebody else, but the price of the parts is tripled. That's where they get you.
And the availability. I know
Yeah.
one of my hay balers comes out of Canada, and it's been tough getting stuff across the Canadian border customs, believe it or not.
Yeah.
But you were bringing up that you were okay from the last meeting if we needed pumps or
Right,
anything
yes.
like that,
A
that you
jumping
guys
jack.
gave.
That's the thing, if you- yep, so, I
Yeah,
mean,
if
we
it's
have,
affecting
we
your
have a
day-to-day
budget,
operation.
we have a
there's money in
budget
the
line
bucket
item for it, don't we?
It's part of our maintenance.
Yeah.
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 Or, yes,
Well, that article we do for the water main replacement and equipment.
and
So we
equipment,
can-
that's right.
Right.
We
Yep.
can tie in for that.
So yes, we can take a look and see what we have in there and make sure that.
But I mean, some of the stuff, maybe we just need to tweak it to,
Sure.
get it running, because I don't wanna
yeah.
buy new.
No,
Thing is, it's, when you go out there, it needs to work.
Right, at 2 o'clock in the morning, when
I'm
it's
with you.
Yeah.
34
Yeah.
degrees out, Fran, you're gonna go back and be like, boy, why this pump won't start right now, I don't know.
Okay, anybody got anything else?
Yeah, I did, but I forgot.
What happens after 80, John?
After 80?
That's what I hear.
Am I that old?
So you already forgot.
Yeah. Wasn't important. It was at the beginning of the meeting. Just something I was thinking about.
Okay, public comment?
Yes, I've got a couple of things I was interested in getting some information on. DEP's coming on Thursday,
Yes.
and what are they gonna do?
They're just doing a site visit. They're gonna look at the concerns of the people who filed the appeal, and they're gonna look at the area, where the wetlands are, and we're gonna tell them what, you know, what our plan is, which they already know, they already approved the method, you know, with the tanks, location and stuff like that. And then they're gonna, I guess, take that information back and make a determination.
Where do we stand right now insofar as DEP's approval?
With different sections, so the water side of DEP approved the pilot study. So we proposed to them what we wanted to do, and they accepted that. They gave permission to proceed. So then we went to the Conservation Commission, and then
They approved it.
right, they approved, and then the residents are
Appeal
appealing the
conservation
Conservation's decision.
What residents?
The Hickory Hills residents.
The formation of Hickory Hills Lake Inc.
I think it's,
The main three people who submitted the application was Joan Pease, Bobby Turkington, and John Fortune.
Barbara.
Sorry, Barbara.
and I know Joan's head of the board for the Woodlands Trust, or the Woodlands area down there, and I know that Mr. Fortune is the chairman or the head of the board for the Lake Association.
My concern is to make sure that it's absolutely airtight, that there is a audit trail, that the DEP has been requested to come in and look at this and to act on it.
That's what I'm kind of thinking it is.
Okay, that's good, okay, because somebody has to start this, okay? So this is promulgated by, you know, the DEP and the water district. We've got all of our stuff lined up, right?
Right.
Yeah,
You're hesitant.
No. I mean, everything on our end-
Study scheduled, but I mean, we're ready to go.
Yeah, but all the Ts are crossed and the
Yeah.
Is.
Scheduled, it's all, yeah, it's all
It's all
very,
ready to go. We're just waiting for the appeal to pass and say you're able to proceed. Then we're gonna call the guy who's doing the pilot study and get it going.
Okay, talk to me real quickly about the appeal.
Well, the conservation approved our pilot study, doing our process, and we laid it all out to them. Very limited impacts, any kind of the wetlands. It was pretty much just put a tank and pump water from the fire hydrant, which comes from the well, from the hydrant filled tank, and then run the pilot study in the building from that tank. I don't know what their concern is to feel they have a right to
are
an
you
appeal.
talking about the appeal that the residents filed against?
Any appeal that
All right, well, the only appeal that's been filed is with the residents that has filed against conservation, correct?
Right.
And to that, was that based on the abutters list, et cetera,
Yeah.
from what I understand,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
some procedural type of things with that I don't really know if it holds water or not, but they're allowed to appeal. And that's the only appeal that's been in this whole process at our local conservation board. DEP has approved our study, DEP approved our water runoff, et cetera. It's just at our local conservation board, that's where it's,
So the Conservation Commission has looked upon the submission from the Water District, and they've acted upon that.
Yes,
correct.
and they've approved it.
Okay.
They, it's just a matter of residents have a right to an appeal of that, so. And I don't think, I mean, I don't know if you've talked to our engineer at all, but it's kind of odd because I don't think that they're running into anybody having to file NOIs across the state for this, because most water departments and districts are exempt from that.
Okay, so how is it that we have to go through hoops?
I think it's our town bylaw that allows the commission, and I think it was because of the push they were getting from the public to make the district apply for the NOI. And the conservation, I think, has the right because of the town
Well,
bylaws.
let's back that up just a little
I
bit.
thought-
We actually didn't, we volunteered to put the NOI in.
Put it in as an
We just said,
NOI,
you know
right.
what, we're just gonna go the whole boat here. We were not required to do that. We did that voluntarily, knowing that it
Right.
would get appealed its way to it, so we're just gonna do it first. Correct?
Correct.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
Okay,
It
so,
was an RDA to begin with.
yes.
And
It's an
then
IDA.
request for determination where the board basically makes the decision. When you do a notice of intent, an NOI, that is a full application with DEP, and the board reviews it, and DEP gets to review it and make comments on it. So it's more binding, I think, than an RDA. It's just,
So-
it's getting more eyes on it.
In basic layman's terms, okay, the approach that the water district has taken is, notwithstanding what the rules and regulations are, you are going over and above what's required to conform to all of the rules and regulations for DEP.
Correct.
That would be 100% right.
Okay, so that's fine. It's just,
Yep.
we all, I'm sure, have seen verbiage in the papers. I get the Harvard paper and the Ayer paper and the Groton paper and the Townsend paper. And they're all talking about PFAS. And it's, you know, you can't open up a page where there's some reference isn't made from it. So I think that's important in terms of accumulating your stuff for the DEP to make sure that they have all of this stuff. If they don't, and I'm sure they do, that you know, it's out there, and all we're doing is just try to be ahead of the curve, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Along with that, so we can't apply for ARPA funding as a district. We
Right.
have to go through the town.
Right.
So we have requested through the Board of Selectmen
Right.
funding from the ARPA money to help us with pilot studies, public education on PFAS. And it wouldn't just be public education for Lunenburg Water District customers, it'd be for all Lunenburg residents. So that we could give a little bit of information to the people with private wells and what kind of concerns they should have. And on top of that would be a master plan, which would be looking at all of our resources and what's the best attack and approach to dealing with PFAS. Then also going into pilot studies for the other water sources we have, so.
That's where it gets a little hairy insofar as I'm concerned, but I'm sure you've got it covered. You know, the powers to be in the various towns are going out and doing stuff, okay? And we, I think, should know what it is they're doing and what it is we're doing, so there should be you know, everybody is singing from the same page, and I'm sure that that's all part. But the thing that gives me great, you know, positive feelings about this is that the DEP has acted on this already. Okay, so it's not like they, you know, and you know, I don't understand why the people, you know, are up at arms and that kind of stuff. They, you know, they're going through the whole process, but that's the political process that we have to go through.
Yep.
All right. Money. How much is this going to cost?
So, well, the current SRF application is for about 15 million
For us?
for that site, for us.
Yeah, for us.
Okay.
For that site, but this is, they've had to come up with that number without, we don't have the pilot study done. We don't have any sort of a plan on the size of the treatment facility, what the building's gonna look like or size on that. We don't, until the pilot study's done, we don't have all of the information. And for the SRF funding,
Just to get
what
the
Fran was
application in, we
Yeah,
needed
we needed to have a
something.
number, and we don't wanna be low.
Yeah.
So, it's a big number, but that doesn't mean that's what it's gonna cost.
How is it in relation to the other towns?
I feel that that's,
It's tough
it's
to,
it's like, so I know Littleton just did one and it was 20 million, okay?
but that's
They-
how much
they
water
got-
you're flowing through
Right, I mean,
it.
but that's not apples to apples, because that's a whole different size treatment plant. But I do know that they got, I think, $4 million of that forgiven right off the bat.
Yeah.
So, it is tough to look at other places because it's so unique for size of town, water flow, blah, 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 blah. But, you know, that's just one I have off the top of my head.
Yeah,
And what's the Hickory Hills group, so-called, their contention is why they don't want this?
I don't even want to go into speculating all that.
Yeah.
We're gonna lower the lake level.
Well,
That's, I think, their main cause.
I think they have a lot of gripes and griefs, and that's, go to one of their, if you get invited, go ask them. I mean, we've tried everything.
yeah.
So they haven't come forth and said?
I think they gave
It's
us a
changed.
list.
I mean, at the
of-
very beginning, they fully supported doing the
Right.
the
Oh,
pilot
yeah.
test. And then-
Right.
And then, you know, every time it came to a vote or something, they all voted against it, so.
I'm reluctant to get into this conversation, to be honest with you. It's
With me?
With
anybody.
With anybody, to be honest with you.
Because if they had concerns, I would think they'd be at our meetings.
Yeah.
We've had at least, I don't know, 6 to 8 meetings,
They were-
and then they stopped coming.
Mr. Roger, I appreciate your question, and I mean, I'm there with you. Believe me, I'm not trying to shun it off, but like from sitting on a board point as to what their opposition to this is we've tried every which way, and I don't want to put words in their mouths, or it just,
And they're not coming clean.
they're not, it's their right to do this, I guess I can say that. If that's what they want to do,
We
go
just,
ahead.
we just gotta
We're trying
fight
to
it
do
to
the
the
best we
end
can for the town.
and do what we have to do,
So
that's all.
isn't the approach, if I think I understand this correctly, the approach is that you're kind of excluding, but not really, the voices of the people, and you're relying on DEP to say, listen, this stuff has been approved.
Well, we're not excluding
No.
anybody.
Yeah.
We're out there telling them what we have to tell
I
them.
understand. Maybe I
But they
didn't use the
they
right
don't
word.
care, they don't want it, period.
Right.
That's it, nothing.
The reality
It's
is
too
that
bad.
they're a well-organized, loud-voiced group. I mean, and they have a lot of traction. And alls we can do is to present our facts and hopefully keep the public educated. And the more education we can give the public on this, i.e. the rest of the town, the better.
I guess my point is, who's going to lead the charge for this thing? And it should be DEP.
DEP is 100% backed us every
Okay,
bit of the
so
way.
that's, you know, you go through all the
Absolutely.
paperwork and this is it, and
I've said it a million times, we can do all we want here. We are regulated by DEP. They're calling the shots. We don't
Yeah.
get to do anything willy-nilly. They're
And
saying,
and we're not making decisions without professional information.
Right, this is all-
We're dealing with professional engineers. Our professionals have brought forth the information, and we're working with their information. Others seem to interpret that information and without professionals backing it up.
yeah.
Yeah, they're,
That's pretty much the engineered reports that people are citing
Yeah.
that are out there are engineered reports. Hire an engineer to dispute our engineered reports.
You guys hire.
Exactly. Don't keep interpreting our reports
But-
without having a professional interpret them.
And our engineers have.
They're smart individuals down there, they make some good points,
Yeah.
but, we're doing everything through DEP, through professional engineering firms, professional hydrologists,
Okay.
so we're not just cowboying this thing.
And the money for this is from the state revolving fund.
From that, there's also
There's infrastructure
There-
funding, similar
There's,
to the
yeah,
ARPA
some
funding that
grants,
went to
there's
that.
some grant grant funding out there, there's
Yeah.
some lawsuits out there on this. It's coming from different directions.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's still gonna cost us a lot of money. Do we want clean water or not?
Yeah. And the whole premise behind this is that in order to be a viable entity, we've got to so-called do what we have to do to make sure that we conform with the rules and regulations as we know them now going forward, so that we can say, listen, we're in the queue. This is what we're doing.
We're trying to be very proactive about this PFAS situation
Okay.
and be as far ahead of it as we can.
We could
And,
step up the viable entity if you'd like to. We're gonna provide you with clean water, just in a layman's terms. Because if we can't get all this done, we can't provide clean water.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And that's the goal.
Yeah. Okay.
And I don't think the citizens in town, 95 or 98% of them want to drink poison water.
So,
Okay. All right, a couple other things. Money. I heard bits and pieces of, cost of money and what the expenses are gonna be from Unibank. Is that it? No?
No, we were, well,
Which ones are you
the
talking?
early conversation we were talking about.
Yeah. I
We
mean,
were looking at interest rates for the
Yes,
money in the
yes.
bank.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
So we were looking at different banks around to compare,
And the purpose was to what?
to get more money, to get,
gain more interest on it.
Higher rate of return?
Yes,
Okay.
because we need to try to find money anywhere we can for this, because it's
Yeah, sure.
definitely gonna.
I understand. Makes sense. The point is that I don't understand how Unibank or anybody can come in and say, Lunenburg Water District, you're gonna pay us $500, $700, $800 for whatever, for the month. Is that still going on?
No,
No.
well,
we don't,
Well, Unibank, we have as a financial advisor.
Yeah.
that's for the bonds.
Yes, those are
Right.
for bonds and stuff like that. So we don't pay anybody. What I was presenting to the board was I was finding we were getting fees for wire transfers.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
were
yeah.
barely getting low interest, so I had approached them and said, we're not making anything. We have over $2 million in the bank and we're getting pennies.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I had presented to them was different changes, is just looking at investing money in different ways. But we're not paying anybody anything. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
The concern I have from 5%, is that what you're talking about?
5.25 now.
Yeah.
Job person.
The concern I have is it's an 11-month CD.
Yep.
Okay, so, and that's it, it's a time certain.
Yeah.
Some kind of discussion should take place with whomever we mosey up to and say, this is an 11-month arrangement, and we want to make sure that we're looking for a long-term arrangement. So we've got to have some kind of a structure so that we can go into the next phase before this thing expires.
Yes, yep, we had that conversation with them when they came in.
Okay.
Making sure that we had that we met with them, whoever we decided to go with it. We met with the bank before that expired and said,
Yeah.
okay, this is what we're projected, rates coming up in the next couple months, and
Yeah.
this CD is gonna end, what do we
Yeah.
wanna do?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. The other thing that is, problematic is what the Woodlands, interprets the lease and the pass and repass and all of that kind of stuff. But they want the district to repair the
Yeah.
right of way and
Yeah.
stuff.
We all said that won't happen.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
not.
Okay.
no, if we run any piping, we're gonna repair the road where we're,
Yeah.
but the pass and repass with the
Yeah.
amount of truck traffic,
Yeah.
unfortunately,
Yeah.
I
It's
don't-
not covered in the lease.
I don't see how you can, yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
No,
It'd be too difficult to enforce it and it's just not something we're gonna entertain at this
Yeah.
time.
So what does the district's legal counsel say?
we're in the right to
This whole
pass.
thing.
Man.
There was
how
a
much time?
letter that came from them, we sent it to council, they really didn't, told us really not to worry about it.
Not
We're all
concerned.
set.
Yeah.
We're good to go. We're good to continue as we
Yeah.
are.
All right. Okay, that's all I have, and I realize that these are probably stuff that's been talked about, but I just wanted a little update to feel comfortable that we're going in the right direction. I think we are.
Every hurdle that's put in front of us, we try to jump over.
Yeah,
And so far, we've jumped over all of them.
yeah.
You come in anytime for a recap. Gladly fill you in.
Bring your checkbook with you, don't you?
My name is Rogers, not S.
If you want, I can help you carry it from your house over.
Yeah. He's not heavy, Father, he's my brother. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you for coming in.
The other financial stuff is okay, the money that we're getting for the
Sal,
towers and all that
yeah,
kind
you
of stuff.
were talking about going out for another,
I'm trying to figure out how we can get.
We have
it.
one empty spot up there that will,
Yes, we have the building, they gave us the building, we left all the cable trays. My plan was to have them do modifications to the tank so we could paint the tank without moving the cellular equipment. And kind of get some kickback from the attorneys on my method, so.
Fran's trying to figure out every way to get
Anyway-
6 people into the 1-bedroom apartment, you know?
And pay us, yeah.
Yeah.
No, we're in good shape, Dave.
yeah, some of the cellular carriers are consolidated, like, didn't Verizon buy, or one of them,
No, Verizon
Sprint.
stayed the same, but the T-Mobile and
T-Mobile, okay.
Sprint merged. In the past, Cellular One and AT&T merged, that's where
Right,
AT&T
so
came
you'd have
from.
2 carriers on the tank, and some of them have merged, and now it's just 1 carrier on that.
But we're still doing okay. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep,
And the money's okay coming in, people owe us a lot of money that they're not paying?
Lisa has done an amazing job.
She's a she really does good.
I've put her on collections, and she has done an amazing job working with people, getting payment plans.
Yep.
We had one customer that had been years, and he is on his weekly payment schedule, getting it down, and then actually we looked into MOC, the Montechusett Opportunity Council. They offer the fuel assistance.
Yeah.
They had a new program this year for water departments and districts that wanted to get involved.
Yeah.
For people who are approved for fuel assistance could get assistance with their water bills. And that has been a huge help for a lot of our customers.
Okay.
So, yeah. Yeah.
What's the latest, real quick thumbnail about Howard Street? Is that?
nothing
No,
right
no.
now.
Haven't
Nothing.
heard a thing.
Huh.
I
No.
believe it was approved for 40B, and
Yes.
and something, it
We
was
haven't heard anything for the water
the
districts.
last thing was the zoning board of appeals didn't know if they had the right to make a decision for the water district,
Yeah.
and.
this is 6-8 months ago.
Yeah,
It's been
I haven't heard it,
since.
I have not heard boo.
I think the town made a big mistake when they changed the way that they were gonna go this route here with the proponent. But that's just my opinion, and it just seems to have stopped. And
I don't think it's gonna stop.
No.
I just think it's in a pause for right now.
Well, I think it's in someone else's hands, not
Right.
the ZBA.
I also know that he has another big project in Drake, I believe, that's probably giving him a little bit of friction.
Yeah.
He has a couple projects going on, he's not gonna.
Right, I don't think he's
gonna
gonna
build something
abandon
up
this,
there.
but
Yeah.
so far we've heard nothing.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's all I have. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Okay.
The new, the MBTA zoning
Yeah,
thing, I don't know if you've
Well,
heard
that's
that.
the one I'm concerned
So
about.
if you have a commuter rail coming
Yeah.
through your community, which even though it's a short section,
Understood, yeah.
goes through our community.
it goes through our community, like in other words, if
It's
the
supposed
track
to be-
touches your town.
Yeah, it's supposed to be less restrictive for the developers to then even the 40B.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's scary.
that's the real one you're gonna be.
They want the people moving in to the towns where the track touches so they can take their ride to Boston to go to work.
On an electric train.
On an electric train.
Really?
Fueled by diesel generators.
Yeah,
I gotta love that.
What about cost to tie into the district? Have you changed that at all?
No.
No, we actually went through this a while, no, I think we added one thing, but you're talking about like the tie-in fees, et cetera.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all pretty much the same, I thought.
Yeah,
the
we
last
haven't
time-
changed
yeah.
those.
yeah, we're the same as most towns around, we checked and,
I thought we were higher.
We usually with the highest.
Yeah,
Some
well-
of the other towns are stepping over us.
But, yeah, I was gonna say, we haven't checked in a while, so who knows if
Might not be a bad thing to, to look into, see where our rates and fees
we're
are.
at 4,000 connection fee.
We did a rate, we had to do a rate increase last year.
Well, yeah, when we did that rate increase, I
Because
thought
of
we
cost of
changed the
chemicals
tier or
and
something.
electric.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
yes.
that's what it was.
Yes, yep.
I got my notes here,
Because
Dave.
chemical,
Okay.
because of COVID, chemicals,
Yeah.
a lot more expensive.
Electricity,
And
everything.
electricity's jumping through the roof,
Yeah.
so.
Yep.
There was one thing, sorry. With this money from the federal government, so-called,
Yeah,
The ARPA funding?
go on.
Are you talking about the ARPA funding or
Yeah,
the?
yeah. I think the message that frankly I have delivered off the record is that the part of a good part of the community is being taken care of by the Lunenburg Water District, and this costs money.
Yep.
You know, and it's, you know, the schools and everything else is all part of this, so I think we're okay.
I agree. We brought it up, and I believe that we're about 70% of the people in town use the public water supply.
Yeah.
So, which is a high number, I think, in a small town.
Yeah, and to include like he
yeah.
was saying, the schools,
The
the
schools, et
towns,
cetera, yeah.
the municipalities,
So.
the.
Thanks.
Are we done?
We're done.
I don't know, are we done?
Yeah, are you sure?
Oh, by the way,
okay, motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All right,
I'll make
we're
one
done.
too.